What's up, my comic comrades? We've got a fun episode for you today because, as many of you are aware, Batman the Animated Series is one of the most influential TV shows for Batman of all time. And one of the biggest examples of that is how it created so many characters and story elements that eventually made their way into the comics and Batman's mythos as canon. So today we're going to look at just a few of those examples with our list of the top 10 characters created by Batman the Animated Series. Ready? Roll that bumper. Kicking off the list, we have Hardac. Hardac stands for Holographic Analytical Reciprocating Digital Computer, and it made its first appearance in the episode Heart of Steel, Part 1. Although most people probably remember this artificial villain from the episode His Silicone Soul. Anyway, Hardac has easily become one of the most recognizable villains from Batman the Animated Series. For many reasons, as the character first and foremost had a lot of depth, but also his iconic look, giving us a very Terminator-looking version of Batman. Hardac was created by a computer genius named Carl Rossum. He built him to demonstrate how far artificial intelligence has come. But as all the smartest people in the world have warned us, artificial intelligence is extremely dangerous, as at a certain point, it will start thinking for itself, and then try to run the world by either enslaving or eradicating all humans, and that's exactly what Hardac tried to do before Batman stopped him. What I'm saying is, like a lot of things from Batman the Animated Series, this villain was way ahead of his time and is still extremely relevant today. I'd say even more so. Next up, we have a character from the new Batman Adventures, which essentially is just Batman the Animated Series with updated character designs. And that character I would be talking about is Annie. Annie's first and only appearance in the series was in the episode titled Growing Pains. But even though she only made one appearance, she's become a staple to the Batman Animated Series mythos. Annie is a lost girl who's wandering the streets of Gotham looking for her father. Inevitably, Tim Drake Robin befriends her and starts growing feelings for her. But by the end of the episode, Tim finds out that Annie is actually not a real girl, but in fact a lost remnant of Clayface that took its own form. It's a really well done episode, and the way they build the relationship between Tim and Annie before the big reveal that she's essentially Clayface is extremely well done, especially for doing all of this within 22 minutes. Now, even though this was Annie's only on-screen appearance, she recently appeared in issue 3 of Batman The Adventures Continue, and we did an episode on that issue which you could find right here. In any case, let's move on to number 8. Next on the list, we have Red Claw, who first appeared in the episode The Cat in the Claw Part 1, which is actually the same episode that Catwoman made her debut in Batman the Animated Series. Putting it plain and simple, Red Claw is one of the deadliest terrorists in all the world, and like every character on this list, has become a staple and iconic character for Batman the Animated Series. Not much is revealed about Red Claw's past. We don't even know her true identity, but we do know her operatives bear a red claw tattoo somewhere on their bodies. Usually it's on their shoulder. What's also crazy is at first we don't know what Red Claw looks like. To me, she was always kind of like a female street level version of Ra's al Ghul. Obviously there's lots of differences, but you guys get the comparison. In any case, she's a dope villain who has one of the coolest reveals in the series, and a character I would love to see cross over into the main DC Batman continuity. And on a random note, if they ever did her live action, Gina Carano would be perfect for the role. At number 7, we have Lockup, whose first and only appearance in Batman the Animated Series was in the episode titled Lockup. The fact that Lockup and other characters who have only made one appearance in the series still have longevity and are fan favorites says a lot for the quality Batman the Animated Series was pumping out. But back to the topic at hand. Lockup's real name is Lyle Bolton. He was the former head of security at Arkham Asylum. But he's one of those guys who will let power get to his head and would use unnecessary violence as a means to keep his prisoners in line. So much so, the dude straight up terrified villains like the Ventriloquist, Harley Quinn, and Scarecrow, Gotham's worst. Because of this, he eventually got fired, but then after decided to become a hardcore vigilante, acting as the judge, jury, and executioner, taking the name Lockup. But we're not just talking about taking in villains. This dude even found people like Commissioner Gordon corrupt. Yeah, he was on the far end of extreme. Of course, Batman would eventually stop him, but the point is, this is a very unique spin on a Batman villain, one that's so cool he eventually made his way into the main continuity Batman books. This is a character in the right hands I feel could easily headline a Batman story. Rounding out the top 5, we have Nora Fries, who made her first appearance in the episode Heart of Ice. Now, though not a character that's even alive in Batman the Animated Series, she easily is one of the most important characters of said series. Reason being, she's the backbone to Mr. Freeze's modern origin that this series created. Before Nora and this origin, Mr. Freeze was like a D-list Batman villain who ran around in a pink and green outfit. But because of the introduction of Nora, that all changed. As we all know, Mr. Freeze is Mr. Freeze, not because he wants to take over the world, not because he wants millions of dollars, but because he wants wants to find a cure to bring his cryogenically frozen wife back to life. So yes, he steals and does crimes, but it's all to gain the money, knowledge, and equipment to bring his wife back to life. That's all he wants. And because of Nora, this new take on Mr. Freeze has easily become one of the staples of Batman the Animated Series and the Batman mythos in general. What I'm saying is, without Nora, we wouldn't have the awesome complex story and origin we now have for Mr. Freeze. Literally, without her, none of this works. So for that and that alone, she definitely earns her spot on this list. Next up, we have Baby Doll. She made her first appearance in the episode simply titled Baby Doll. Her real name is Mary Louise Dahl. She was a former actress who was born with systemic hypoplasia, which is a rare condition that kept her from aging, meaning she spent her entire life looking like a little girl. She was the star of a TV sitcom called Love That Baby. She played a 5-year-old even though she was 20 at the time because of her disease. In the final season of her TV show, ratings were going down, so they added a new character, Baby Doll's cousin, called Spunky, who started taking the spotlight on the series. This forced her to quit, being extremely pissed off. She then tried her hand at dramatic acting, but she failed. So after this, she started to go a little crazy, as they say. Years passed, and she's like, you know what? The only time I was truly happy was with my TV family. So she took the persona of Baby Doll once again, but this time hired a bunch of goons to kidnap her once TV family. One thing leads to another, and she keeps getting crazier, so Batman eventually had to save her former co-stars. This character is different from any other Batman villain. I mean, she's kind of like Two-Face in the sense that she deals with identity issues, but completely different at the same time. She knows who she is, she just so badly wants to be something else, she doesn't care what she has to do or who she has to hurt to make her reality real. Crazy stuff, man, and all of this comes from a kid's cartoon. At this point in the list, we're getting to extremely popular characters that originated from Batman the Animated Series. Number 4 being Renee Montoya. She first appeared in the episode Joker's Favor. And not only that, she's been in more episodes than even Harley Quinn, appearing in a total of 19 episodes in one film. That film being Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. Renee Montoya almost instantly made her way into DC Comics' main Batman continuity and became an extremely popular part of the Gotham City Police Department alongside Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Bullock. They're basically the trinity of the GCPD. In Batman the Animated Series, she's Harvey Bullock's partner and is an extremely honest, strong-willed police officer, one of the only truly good cops in Gotham City. Renee Montoya has become such a staple to DC lore, she became the second Question in issue 48 of the New 52 series in April of 2007. And more recently, she made her live-action movie debut in the Birds of Prey film played by Rosie Perez. In a nutshell, the character speaks for itself. Making it into the top 3 is hands down one of my all-time favorite characters from BTAS, and that would be Grey Ghost. He made his first and only appearance in the episode titled Beware the Grey Ghost. What made the Grey Ghost such a great character is that he was Bruce's childhood hero. The Grey Ghost was a TV show hero that Bruce watched with his father as a kid. Essentially, Grey Ghost was to Bruce what Batman was to us, the audience, which is a brilliant idea, one of the many that BTAS had. Anyway, when prop cars from the Grey Ghost start popping up in Gotham, blowing up buildings, Batman goes to Simon Trent, the actor who played Grey Ghost, to see if he had any intel. But we see that Simon Trent is now a washed-up actor who is barely able to pay rent and has to sell his memorabilia from the show to pay bills. So initially, Trent wasn't about helping Batman with his investigation to stop the Mad Bomber. But eventually, he changed his tune and even dons his Grey Ghost costume once again to fight crime alongside the Dark Knight. And it was just awesome to see Batman fanboying out fighting crime alongside his childhood hero. It's the only time I ever remember seeing Batman fanboy out in anything, and it was done extremely well. As you could really tell, Bruce looked up to this character as a kid. So much so, he even gets his autograph at the end of the episode. Oh, and did I mention that Sam Trent, aka Grey Ghost, was voiced by Batman himself, Adam West? So that just piles on to the cool factor. Hands down, one of the best characters and episodes from the series. Runner-up on this list is none other than the Phantasm. The Phantasm debuted in the feature film Batman Mask of the Phantasm. The character would later appear in the Justice League Unlimited episode titled Epilogue. Anyway, the Phantasm is none other than Andrea Beaumont, Bruce's once fiancée and love that he met in college. The Phantasm is easily top 3 characters to be created by Batman the Animated Series, hence it's sitting pretty at number 2. The character is complex and tied so closely to Bruce's personal life. I mean, the Phantasm literally turned out to be the woman Bruce almost married. It doesn't get much closer to home than that. And of course, the Phantasm has a super iconic look, almost looking like the Grim Reaper version of Batman, along with being an extremely formidable opponent. But what really ties it all together is the character's backstory with her father and Bruce. If you haven't watched Batman Mask of the Phantasm, what is wrong with you? Do that like today. But we also break down the entire movie in this episode right here. But now, on to number 1. And a course, the number one spot could go to no other character besides Harley Quinn. She first appeared in the episode titled Joker's Favor. She was originally voiced by the great Arlene Sorkin, who still to this day I personally think is hands down the best voice actress for Harley Quinn. In any case, I don't think much needs to be said on why Harley Quinn is number one on this list. She is easily the greatest and most successful character to come out of BTAS. She's literally become not just one of DC's most successful characters, but one of comic books' most successful characters in general. I know she's my favorite female comic book character, although I miss the BTAS version of Harley Quinn that was by Joker's side, wanting nothing more than to grow old with him. In recent years, she's become more of an anti-hero, ditching Joker in the Harley Quinn costume, becoming more of a Deadpool type character, which I'm not a fan of. But either way, I still love the character, particularly the original portrayals of the character from BTAS and her first solo series. But again, there's no denying Harley being number one on this list. She's had several solo series in main DC continuity, she's appeared several times in live action movies portrayed by Margot Robbie, and has her own awesome animated series on the DC Universe app. As far as original BTAS characters go, there's no beating her. But that's just our list. Let us know what yours would be in the comment section below, or just let us know what your favorite original character is from Batman the Animated Series. And just like that, that brings today's episode to a close. But if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like our channel, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It helps us out. But I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.